Okay, so what is exactly happening right now? We have Xbox offering Sony a 10-year deal when it involves Call of Duty and having it on their platform. We have Jim Ryan basically denying that they're misleading regulators. There's just a lot of information, a lot of back and forth, and I do have to say that this battle between Xbox and Sony for the Activision Blizzard deal just keeps getting even more ridiculous and ridiculous. Let's get into everything that's being said because over the holiday break, which I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving, is starting to get a little insane. So let's just get right into it. Alright, so you know the drill. If you like the content, hit that subscribe button and that like button. And if you want to be notified on future videos, hit that small little bell icon. And if you want to go that extra mile to support the channel, hit that join button. All the support is greatly appreciated. Okay, so I just have to say that right now, the New York Times is reporting that Microsoft has honestly offered Sony a 10-year deal that is in regards with Call of Duty. Now, you know for the last several months, Sony hasn't just been trying to talk about Call of Duty. They have been trying to kill this Activision Blizzard Xbox deal for months, and it's not even funny anymore. They're not taking any qualms about it. They're not even trying to hide it at this point. They just want Microsoft or Xbox, you know, their main competitor when it comes to console next to Nintendo, to just be gone. They do not want them to have the Activision Blizzard deal. They do not want them to have Call of Duty on Game Pass. They just don't want them to compete in any shape or form. And this is not just me talking about Xbox buying Activision Blizzard. This is after Sony has bought several, up to 7 to 8 studios, including one of the biggest first-person studios in Bungie. But I want to get into the deal, and I want to get into what Microsoft is offering Sony to see what everybody is talking about. Here's what's said in the article. Microsoft said that on November 11th, it offered Sony a 10-year deal to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. Sony declined to comment on the offer. Last month, Mr. Phil Spencer and other Microsoft executives brought an Xbox, a PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch and other devices to a meeting with regulators in London where they showed off Call of Duty and other games to illustrate a dynamic market, people familiar with the visit said. Regulators are also worried that the deal might mean for the future when cloud computing lets people stream sophisticated games to various devices, including mobile phones. So this is what the 10-year deal is all about. Microsoft is trying to show all of these people that basically don't understand gaming and kind of have Microsoft and Activision Blizzard's faith in their hands what it's all about, showing dynamic games, showing different games that are like Call of Duty on other devices and all of that. And what was Sony's response? Well, they didn't comment at all about the 10-year deal, but they also talked about Battlefield not even being a competitor to Call of Duty and that EA isn't competing with them. It's funny that they brought up Battlefield but not Apex Legends, which is directly competing with Warzone in numbers and people that are playing it. So it's funny that Sony is nitpicking everything about this. Yet it's Microsoft going to these regulators and all of these people trying to show them that this deal is big, but it's not as big as you think. It's not just about the console. And I understand that there have some hesitation about the cloud streaming and the cloud computing. Well, isn't 10 years plenty of time for Sony to actually start competing in that front, for other markets to start competing in that front? I know that seems kind of weird, but that's the whole point of this 10-year deal. You're still going to get Call of Duty, you're still going to have it on your PlayStation, and if you want to compete in cloud gaming, you have 10 years to catch up. 10 years! So I don't understand all the hate. But most of all, and this is something that I'm kind of worried about, is that Microsoft needs to get their messaging correct. Because for several months and years, Microsoft has always said, oh, Xbox is going to have their games first and be better on there and then go everywhere else. Yet, that is not true. They've been bringing games to the Xbox console, I will admit, but it's later. They are bringing games first to PC and then to Xbox consoles. They have said things that are kind of double-tongued. They're going across gaming and saying a whole lot, but it doesn't mean a whole lot. And that's what's causing them some issues. And to be honest with you, I think that they need to start honing down exactly what they mean and say exactly what they mean and then stick to it. I understand things change, but they don't change that quick within 6 months. So I think Microsoft needs to get their messaging down and start going to regulators and making this thing as simple as possible, which Phil Spencer has been doing. He said that Call of Duty will be on PlayStation and they will treat it like Minecraft where it's expanded and gone to even more platforms. That's not a joke. They did that with Minecraft. They've done that with multiple games, and that is going to happen. They're basically going to turn into a first-party, but kind of a semi-third-party publisher where they're bringing games everywhere because that's where the money is, everywhere. And speaking of which, this is starting to put a little bit of a light on Sony and Jim Ryan and what they're doing. Here's what's said in this article about the misleading regulators and over the Xbox Activision Blizzard deal. The saga continues. Sony Interactive Entertainment President and CEO Jim Ryan has expressed a few words today as part of a New York Times report concerning Xbox's attempt to acquire Activision Blizzard, denying claims that Sony has been misleading regulators throughout the process. In recent weeks, Microsoft has revealed frustration about Sony's exaggerated importance over Call of Duty in relation to the Activision Blizzard deal. But Ryan stated that any suggestions of misleading regulators is not true. Here's a bit more of what he had to say. Microsoft is a tech giant with a long history of dominating industries. It is highly likely that the choices gamers have today will disappear if this deal goes ahead. Interestingly, it's also stated by Microsoft in the report that an offer was made on November 11th to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation for 10 years, but Sony declined to comment on the offer when questioned by the New York Times. Now, I do have to say this one thing. It has also been reported that, yes, Microsoft is a tech giant that has dominated certain industries, and they're using Windows and kind of cloud to kind of put that in there and put that argument in there. And let's be real, Windows has been dominant, but so has Apple's operating system that has gone to schools and a bunch of other things. So they have direct competition. And then you look at everything else like cloud, and you still have AWS, which is Amazon Web Services. You still have Google, and of course you have Microsoft Azure. So again, competitors. Sony, you do have competitors. It's called Xbox and Nintendo. That's the funny part about this, is that Jim Ryan is trying to say that gamers' choices are going to be disappearing if the deal goes ahead. Kind of like the deal you have with Spider-Man, where it was everywhere and Activision made the game third party and Spider-Man was on all platforms, and then you locked it down and you put it first party and it's only on PlayStation. Kind of how you lock down all your games and put it on one device. Where are the player choices when it comes to your games? There is only one choice. Buy a PlayStation 5 and play it there, or wait multiple years and then play it on PC later. So I'm not understanding where you're talking about player choice. And they also said that they're worried that Microsoft, with this deal, can jack up console prices and jack up game prices. I don't understand where the hell the self-awareness is, but it's not here. How are you going to talk about this when you are the first ones to do it? Sony jacked up their prices to $70 for every game, and they jacked up the prices of the consoles considerably, except in the territory that Microsoft is the most competitive in, which is North America. So how are you going to talk about Microsoft doing these things when you're doing the same exact things and you're locking down third-party games and money hiding them? It is one of the most contradicting things I've ever seen. And I understand why Sony's afraid. I understand why they're trying to kill this deal. It's all business. But at the same time, it is so not self-aware to see all of this. How are you going to talk about Microsoft doing something that they haven't even done yet, but you've already done it, and say like, well, the potential of Microsoft doing it is so crazy because they've dominated for so long. Yeah, they are a tech giant, and they become a tech giant by opening up their platform. Windows is open. People can go and do whatever they want. There's a lot of things that have opened up when it looks to Microsoft. Don't get me wrong, I know they have a very dark history. Every company does, including Sony. So I don't understand this whole thing. I think that Sony is kind of grasping at straws and trying to get regulators to go on their side, when in reality, it's really Microsoft that is being far more open and not exaggerating anything and bringing everything to the forefront to show that there is competition in Call of Duty and there is going to be continued competition with PlayStation and Xbox. And if you look at all the numbers, even if Xbox still buys Activision Blizzard today and it goes through, they are still second or third in revenue in gaming behind Nintendo and, you guessed it, PlayStation. So this whole thing with Jim Ryan and misleading regulators, to me, is kind of true, because everything they talk about Xbox and Microsoft doing, or potential to do, they're already doing it. So let's have a little bit of self-awareness and let's look at everything as a whole, because right now this deal might go through or it might not. I'm not too sure. The FTC's reported that they might sue for this. Who knows what's going to happen in the next several months, especially after the holidays when we go into the new year, where the deal gets even further and further along, where it's getting closer to close out in April or May of this year. Let's all just sit back and enjoy the ride, because this back and forth between Sony and Xbox is one for the history books. But let me know what you think about this. Are you surprised that Sony might be misleading regulators? Are you surprised that Xbox is offering Sony a 10-year deal and all they can say to that was nothing and give no comment back? Are you actually surprised that Sony might actually be the company that blocks this deal because of the complaining they've been doing? I want to know everything that you think about this. Go down below, go in the comment section, because at this point, this whole thing is getting out of hand. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. That support ups out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. Plus, I love interacting with everyone there, so get on Twitter and let's talk about gaming. Also, follow me on Xbox Live. My gamer tag is Zalker87, just like my channel name. See what games I'm playing, and let's compete in achievements for the month. So right now, I've been playing a bunch of games. I beat Somerville. I did 1,000 of 1,000 on my Xbox on that. You can go check that out. That game is pretty cool. It's on Game Pass. It's not as good as Inside or Limbo, but I still enjoyed it. I went and got the 1,000 out of 1,000 because I was enjoying it that much, but it's not the best game around. And I've been jumping into God of War Ragnarok a lot. I know a lot of people have been playing this. I know it's sold like crazy, and honestly, I was kind of not enjoying it in the beginning. There was too many puzzles. I was using my axe too much, kind of flinging it around and not really fighting anything. The thing that stands out the most in this game is combat, and there wasn't enough of it. But after exploring a little bit, after playing it for about, I think I'm 14 hours in, it's starting to pick up. The story's starting to pick up. The combat's starting to pick up. The boss fights are picking up. Finally, after that long, I'm really enjoying the game. Everything before that was kind of build up, and I still enjoyed it. God of War is one of my favorite franchises, and I do have to say that this is a contender for Game of the Year. I'm going to play it and beat the whole thing to make sure, but right now it is right there with Elden Ring. I think Elden Ring is better. To me, that's almost like a game of a class of its own, but I'm loving God of War, and I'm enjoying it a lot on the PS5. But let me know what you're playing. Are you playing something on your Xbox Series X, your PC, your PlayStation 5, your Switch, or your Steam Deck? Let me know down below, because that's what we're here, is to talk games. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.